With us, we have speakers from industry leaders in their verticals, FedEx and Tally. As we go along in the webinar, we'll be talking to you more about topics regarding digitalization of logistics operations, how to make or how to better implement ERP solutions for cross-border businesses, and finally, how to simplify payments for cross-border trade. We have with us from FedEx, Mr. Sami Busaba. He's the MD of FedEx for Middle East, Indian subcontinent, and Africa. So Sami has almost 2.5 decades of experience across various roles in FedEx and other various MNCs. He also serves as the president of AmCham. So welcome, Sami. Along with Sami, we have Deepak from Tally, who has 1.5 decades experience of working in solution companies, primarily in addition to ERP, in industries such as VAT, etc. So welcome, Deepak. With this, I think we should dive right in to our webinar. And without further ado, I would like to pass this to Sami. So welcome, Sami.
Thank you, Saival. Thank you. It's a pleasure being here, and good afternoon to you and to everyone. Thank you all for joining the presentation today. I'm going to put this up on screen and make sure that it's visible for everyone. So just give me a second as I do that, Saival, in our new Zoom world. So if I may, Saival, just ask you to give me a quick thumbs up that that's there before I proceed. Thank you so much. So, you know, it's a pleasure being here on behalf of FedEx, and we're very honored to work alongside Payoneer to deliver this webinar today to really talk about digitization and digital transformation, especially when it comes to B2B commerce. Before we get too far into it, I think it's worth taking a step back and just discussing a bit of a definition of what we mean by digital transformation, because I think it's very interchangeable to say digital optimization versus transformation. And when we talk about optimization, we're really talking about applying new technology. To us, and in my perspective, that's really optimizing something. When we say transformation, it's taking that new technology and creating business value and solutions that our customers jointly can adopt. That's really when you start transforming a business. And that's when you really create a culture of continuous adaptation and evolution. So I think it's important to call those two things out. You know, really put simply, digital transformation is about using the digital tools to simplify your activities within your business, to improve productivity, to increase efficiency, and ultimately to add some value to your business. Now, I think the most recent challenges that we've all faced in the last 2 years, I think we can all agree with during the pandemic, have really forced us all to rethink supply chain, rethink our digital footprint, how we work from a digital standpoint. So I'm sure everyone on this call and every business in general is running one form of a CRM or a customer relationship management tool or an e-commerce platform or any kind of back-end database or digital system to run your business. And I think out of necessity of this pandemic, we've really all had to take a step back and rethink kind of how we work in this new world. You know, we've moved meetings, we've moved staff communication online, we've been, you know, doing hybrid workforces, working from home. And I really believe it's using that technology to improve our processes and to drive efficiency is going to be very high in all of our agendas going forward. In fact, according to a recent survey, $7.8 trillion is forecasted to be spent by 2024 on digital transformation. And the CIO Business Impact Survey, which was surveyed by IDG, said that the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic had accelerated businesses' digital transformation efforts. And that was 59% of IT decision makers surveyed responded positively to that. So we know that digital transformation and adopting new digital tools is extremely high on the agendas, driven by the changes we were all forced to adopt to during the pandemic. At the same time, we know that as the costs of cloud-based digital tools are coming down, SMEs are becoming more able and better able to access the technology that can help them transform their business and then scale and increase their offerings. According to KPMG and Microsoft in a 2019 survey, 85% of all cloud-based app investments are being done by the SME sector, which is a pretty phenomenal statistic if you think about it. Back in 1978, our chairman and founder, Fred Smith, came out with a principle that the data of the package is as important as the package itself. Now, if you think about that in 1978, that was a pretty visionary thing to be looking at. And I'm going to talk a little bit later of how we've transformed the logistics industry, how we've transformed as an organization with that mantra in mind, that the data of the package is as important as the package itself. But before I go into it, I'd like to show you a quick video to show where exactly we have come from at FedEx in terms of how we view data and data transformation.
This is data. This is FedEx data. This is weather in Singapore, traffic in Rome, customs updates from Halifax, the temperatures of packages en route, inventory supplies in Texas, and invoices from Belgium. This is millions of packages around the globe moving 365 days a year. This is our physical and digital networks connecting and feeding each other to create continually richer data. This is breaking down the silos. This is unlocking potential with a Microsoft collaboration, employing decision science, using machine learning, extracting the most value. This is data generating insights, giving our operators, partners, and customers better visibility, control, and solutions, creating supply chains that are more predictive and proactive. This is information about the package and the world in which the package travels. This is just the beginning.
So I think it's clear, I mean, from the video, the ecosystem of data and the amount of data that's out there when it comes to what we do as our business in logistics and transportation is pretty astounding. When we think about FedEx moving 15.5 million packages every day and the amount of data that goes around each one of those packages and all the transactions that have to happen to get a package from point A to point B, it's pretty astounding to think how much data is floating out there. The opportunity for us and for our customers and for the entire logistics ecosystem is to really harness that data and use it in a way that's productive and adds value to your business. So we have a few ways of integrating FedEx into platforms really across any scale, any size, and any type of business. And I have to, say this is many people think this is restricted to the e-commerce type platform, but this really goes way beyond e-commerce. This is applicable to really any kind of business, any system that you may be running. We want to look at ways to integrate into that, and really going back to the theme of this event is to transform how you manage your data and how you manage your digital processes. So we have three core kind of platforms that we use, and then I'll get into a little bit more detail. But the three core platforms, number one is it's a web services platform where we can actually become part of your ecosystem. So we plug FedEx into your core processes. No matter what ERP system you may be using, no matter what backend system you can use, FedEx can really plug itself into your order management or your website, or however you interact with your customers. You'll have FedEx there kind of in the backend doing all the infrastructure related to shipping, tracking, rating, etc. The next one is really for higher volume, higher complexity. We have a server-based solution that we provide really, and this really speaks to the B2B side of things, where we can plug in actual server hardware tied to your infrastructure and your ecosystem as well to fully integrate all our processes and streamline supply chain and shipping data. And the third one, I think, that we talk about is a compatible type program. The compatibles really is about kind of partnering up with companies like Payoneer, who's actually part of our program today, and offer integrated functionality. This can really speed up your day-to-day tasks from really operations management, warehouse management, transportation planning, and various workflows where you may be using a third party, but we are also plugged into that third-party software solution. So by integrating these functionality into your key systems and software, we believe we can eliminate the need to switch between multiple platforms within your business. It definitely will help you save time. It'll reduce your chance of errors. It'll allow you to ramp up your business more quickly and more efficiently. And of course, help you to continuously improve your processes, such as being able to get deliveries out faster or reach new markets, for example, by integrating your entire ecosystem. 46% of respondents surveyed by McKinsey in 2020 said they abandoned a purchase because the delivery times were too long. At the same time, 42% of consumers surveyed by PwC said fast, reliable delivery was the most important factor when shopping online. So clearly, the more you can do to process, to be in front of your customers faster, to get shipments out the door more quickly, I think will only serve to enhance your customer experience and help you satisfy your customers, both on the B2B and a B2C side. So a few ways we can look at integrating these technologies, as I mentioned, is the web services, the ship manager server, and the compatibles. But what I wanted to take that forward is we're not ending it there. We see the benefits of next generation innovation for both our team members, our operation, and our other elements like computer assisted vehicles, artificial intelligence, robotics, and eventually drones. The size and scale of our network, as I said before, with more than 15.5 million packages that we sort and process every day, gives us a really holistic view of the global supply chain and the global supply chain ecosystem and the trends. And the foundation of that provides us an immense amount of data that we can use to better build insight, increase visibility, and improve the customer experience overall for you and your customers. So to do that at FedEx, to really harness the power of all this data floating around our global ecosystem, we launched a company called FedEx DataWorks. This is an organization based in our head office, which is laser focused to put our data into context and use it to transform the digital and physical experiences of our customers and of course of our team members. So some examples of that is our partnership with Salesforce, where we've announced a multi-year collaboration that integrates Salesforce Commerce Cloud and Salesforce Order Management with the capabilities from FedEx and ShopRunner, which is a company we recently acquired. We've partnered with Microsoft on a global scale to form FedEx Surround, which I'll talk about a little bit later, but it's really the first solution that we've launched between FedEx and Microsoft. And probably the most game-changing innovation that we've launched using data and using this kind of technology transformation is SenseAware, which is a comprehensive tracking solution that provides near real-time data about the customer shipments with the ability to share information collaboratively between business partners. And the SenseAware device will literally log everything from light, humidity, vibration, temperature, of course, and all the different elements to make sure that the integrity of the package remains sound throughout its journey. And lastly, another key innovation that we are launching in the market is the FedEx Bot, the FedEx same-day bot, which is otherwise called Roxo. You can see a picture of our bot on the screen. We are testing Roxo right now as a prototype, and this will really streamline and change the game in last mile delivery while supporting our sustainability efforts with a very clean, energy efficient vehicle. So with that, Saibal, I really appreciate having the ability to present where FedEx is going with digital transformation and how we see the B2B market in terms of digital transformation. Thank you so much for your attention, and I'll hand it over to Deepak, I believe.
Yeah. Thank you, Sami. Thank you for the lovely insight. Now we would like to welcome Deepak. So our speaker from Tally, please sharing the stage to Deepak. Thank you.
Thank you, Shaival. Could you just confirm if my presentation is visible and clear? Perfect. Perfect. So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the session. First of all, let me thank you all for taking the time out on a busy afternoon to join us for today's session. I'll be covering the role that technology is going to play, especially if you are a business that is functioning across multiple borders, or if you have multiple operations across various geographies. Now, before I get into how exactly does technology become a very crucial aspect for a business efficiency, I'd like to start the session with a famous saying that Bill Gates had once said. He basically talks about two very important rules whenever technology is applied to a business. The first rule of any technology used in a business is that automation applied to an efficient operation will magnify the efficiency. The second is that automation applied to an inefficient operation will magnify the inefficiency. So let's take a couple of minutes to really get into the role or the crucial aspect, which is technology and efficiency, and the magnification of either efficiency or inefficiency. It's important to note that technology as such is a tool which enables you to get things done faster. However, it's very important also to note that if your business operation as such is inefficient, technology can help to a certain extent, but it will not eliminate all your inefficiency. Whereas if you have a really robust system in place, technology does definitely help to magnify this and will take you to new levels. The reason why the entire focus has shifted to technology and digital transformation of late is undoubtedly because of COVID. COVID, in fact, as Sammy had also rightly covered in his presentation, has accelerated the pace in which businesses are adopting and getting comfortable with technology. I'm sure many of you joining us today in today's session would have also seen your technology budgets increasing, allocating higher revenues, and setting aside more budget to implement cutting edge technologies, which possibly you would have planned a couple of years later. In fact, with over 2 million customers using our software, and us having the experience of dealing with over businesses operating in over 190 countries, it is safe for us to say that modern day businesses are looking at technology as an inevitable part of their business operations. Now, before I proceed, I would like to take and compare two scenarios about what has changed between the cross-border trade scenarios. So I've classified it as BC, which is before COVID, and AC, which is after COVID. Now, if you look at before COVID, this is a scenario that all of us these days like to fondly refer to as the good old days, wherein the offices used to be full. We used to have business trips. We used to have our colleagues coming over from our overseas offices. We used to have lots of get-togethers. We used to have a lot of awards, functions, and things like that. So yeah, international travel, which at one point of time seemed unstoppable, and the office was hustling and bustling with all our colleagues, is somehow looks empty these days. Many businesses had planned for expansions into new and high growth market, which was more or less in a systematic and streamlined manner. There were hardly any hiccups that any of us or any business plans would have factored, except possibly the change in prices and things like that. Nobody would have anticipated the blow of COVID, which had come. Apart from that, if you look at the cross-border business regulation, mostly most of them were smooth, and customs clearance used to happen in a jiffy. Nobody had kind of anticipated that there would ever be production shortages, which we are seeing today with all the mega factories that businesses have spent millions and trillions of dollars in erecting. But still, COVID changed all of that. Now let's take a quick look at the situation that all of us are facing today, something that I'm sure nobody would have been able to predict a couple of years before. One thing that has surely changed is that teams have become internationally diversified. We are seeing a lot of decentralization happening in the way that businesses are operating. Um, Suppliers that used to businesses used to have one or two suppliers from whom the bulk of the shipment used to come. Now the viewpoint has changed towards ensuring that we have more suppliers onshore. We have a backup of suppliers, and shipping as well has moved kind of to restructure to accommodate for smaller batches being shipped. Apart from that, the level of penetration of technology as well has increased multifold. If you simply take the example of the number of people who are choosing to go the e-commerce route for their day-to-day supplies and things like that. I'm sure many of the participants today joining us, if you're running a business of your own, or would have definitely seen that the spends that we are doing in terms of targeting customers online would have also gone up. Now, what does all this mean? So how do we interpret all the changes that have happened so far? I'd like to cover, now I agree that there are a lot of fronts in which a business needs to stay on the toes in order to stay competitive. There are three very important areas wherein every business needs to make sure that they are paying complete attention. One is the travel and the workspace. We are, as I said and covered before, we are heading towards a more decentralized work environment where travel is not going to be smooth as smooth as it used to be in the past. There is definitely some time wherein things go back to normal. So the decentralized way of working is definitely here to stay. The second, in terms of new market entries, more or less the approach was we learn about a market, how a particular market behaves. We successfully take things that used to work in our top markets, we kind of replicate it, and thereby wait and get the success. And third, in terms of logistics and regulation, businesses were okay with having one central distribution hub, and then ensuring that they were able to supply and meet the demands of their target market. However, all this is changing drastically, wherein businesses have started moving closer to their target market. And in terms of new market entries, more and more emphasis is being placed on the localization aspect of every product offering, every service offering. And at the epicenter of all this, all the changes that we just spoke about, technology forms the bedrock in which it can, if it is implemented properly, can give you a tremendous boost in terms of your future plans. Now let's take a closer look at what role does technology play as an enabler. As I covered before, technology will work the way that you put it to use. Now, one important thing, or kind of checklist that we always recommend our customers when they are choosing the right business solution for their business automation requirements, is choose a technology that does more than what is required. All right, so there always needs to be a room for growth. The technology should not be rigid. It should be flexible. It should be designed in a manner that it grows along with your business. Now, everyone starts a business, runs a business with the anticipation that we grow, we expand, we are able to cater to newer and newer customers. Our business requirements change over the course of years, and definitely ensure that the system is robust and it is able to withstand any unforeseen situation. And most importantly, with the dynamically and rapidly changing statutory landscape of countries all across the world, it is very, very important that you choose a software that is globally trusted and does the compliance part without any exception. So each and every local compliance is adhered to, and it also gives you tremendous information in terms of the power to consolidate reports, especially if you are working in offices that are spread across different geographies. Now, let's take a look at some more functionalities that as a business, we all should definitely pay attention to and never miss out. So the first things first is ensuring that you are able to get consolidated reports and views. Now, why is this so important? Now, I had recently spoken about increasingly offices and businesses operating in a decentralized manner. Now, what happens is when more and more offices are operating in decentralized ecosystem, the decision making, though it is given to the individual owners of the country, it is still required as a business owner. You need to be on top of things. You need to ensure that how is each and every region performing, and regularly compare what are the learnings that I can take from region A and implement in region B. So it is very important that every detail is available for your interpretation and scrutiny at one click of a button. By using simple technologies like data synchronization and things like that, a software like Tally gives you unmatched reporting power that helps you navigate every nook and corner of your business data, make sense of business data from amongst the noise that is prevalent. Also, look for a software that gives you insights for trade optimization. So very often we use a lot of Microsoft tools like MS Excel, Report Writer, and things like that to gather information that is very, very vital. Look for a software that highlights what is wrong with your data or areas that require your attention. Say, for example, if your software is not able to tell you where the exact optimum inventory carrying level, or at what time should I reorder certain inventory in order to avoid stock out situations, or is there an alternative warehouse that I can ship a particular order from so that I can reduce the delivery time required to take this particular product or service to my customer. So that is the software that you should choose, rather than going for a software that fits your budget and a software that simply does the job or meets the day-to-day requirements. Next, very important to note is that look for a software that enables you and your business to do business on the go, which is available as per your requirement, which ensures that data availability and sanctity is maintained. It's accessible across devices without having the use to install unnecessary apps and things like that. So to give an example of Tally, if you need to access reports of Tally, all that you need is a simple browser. Needless to say, whichever form of device, whether it's an Android, Apple, laptop, doesn't really matter. All that you need is a simple web browser and credentials. All that you need to get access to your valuable data and also share it with the right holders required to make the decisions. I already spoke about the importance of having centralized data. Though the operations are decentralized, it is very important that data is centralized. You take a look at your overall business data. There are regular audits that are happening on the data to ensure that any possibilities to improve the efficiencies are being taken care of. And trust me, only when you actually start to feel or start getting used to the power of real-time data or accessing data real-time, will you understand the various possibilities that are available for you to continuously improve. The fifth option, needless to say, as businesses that are operating across multiple geographies, we will have to factor for multiple currencies. Most important thing that businesses need to take a look at when they are operating in multiple currency is the freedom to operate in a currency of their choice, whereas pull the report in a currency that is required by the stakeholders. It should also be able to calculate any forex gain or losses, whether those are real or notional, and also give you a real-time update of the changing dynamics of a forex currency, especially if you're dealing in some volatile currencies across the world. The sixth and the most important thing is, while it is very important to have a robust business model and having good employees, it is very, very important that you choose a software that is 100% compliant and accredited by the local bodies where you are doing business. And since Tally being used across over 190 countries, we have been the champions of ensuring that businesses, all our customers, over 2 million customers who are using our software, are fully compliant to the local laws. Just to give the case of UAE, from where I operate, it's accredited by the Federal Tax Authority. It's also accredited by Gazette in Saudi Arabia as well. And I'm sure all of us know the statutory landscape of the region is rapidly changing, and the best bet that you can take is to have a software that is accredited by these nodal bodies to ensure that your compliance requirements are met. Also, I'd like to highlight one important feature which is available in Tally and which is loved by all our users here. That is a feature when it comes to the statutory part. It tells you what are the omissions that as a data entry operator or as a person who has entered the data has done, and it also suggests you what are the different steps that you need to take. It tells you, okay, look, this is what you need to do. Maybe you have forgotten to enter the TRN number of a supplier or a customer, and that is why the audit file cannot be completed. So thereby ensuring that you have complete peace of mind in terms of the data that is entered and also the statutory part. Now, to wrap everything up, now we also understand that every business has a competitive advantage, and it is unique in its own way. Now, this uniqueness of every business is what distinguishes them from succeeding or reaching a particular level which their competitors cannot. Now, that being said is the customization aspect, and as a technology company, we understand how much personalization or customization means to anyone who's adopting a technology. A technology needs to be able to fit to your business requirement rather than you fitting to your business requirement, fitting and adjusting according to the software functionalities. So Tally as such is a software that is completely customizable, be it in terms of integrating with any payment gateways like Payoneer or with any third-party applications. Tally is absolutely open, and it is available for integration with any third-party applications as well. Now, with this, I kind of come to an end of the session. And in case you are interested to know about how Tally has been helping businesses across the world automate their business requirements, you could log on to our website tallysolutions.com and book for a free demo. Have a look at it, and there are also videos available on YouTube for you to take a look at. As well as, if you'd like to get in touch with us, the email is mentioned right on screen. I'd encourage you to direct your queries on the email, and we'd be happy to answer. Right. Thank you, Shaiwal. I believe.
Sure, Deepak, lovely hearing from you. To all the listeners and viewers, there is a short survey from Tally's end, which we are displaying on the screen right now. It'll be great if you can answer this. It'll be on for another 5 to 10 seconds. So request you to answer this, please. All right, please keep your answers flowing in. I think last 10 seconds, and then we'll close the poll. Great. I think we have all the answers that could have come in. So yeah, closing the poll now. All right. Thank you, Deepak. Lovely hearing from you. I'm sure all our listeners and all our viewers would have a lot of insights from your presentation. Once again, thank you for your time. All right, I'll quickly move to the Payoneer's presentation. Let me know when my screen is available. All right, awesome. So quickly, before we get started, just for the uninitiated, what is Payoneer? What do we even do? Payoneer is the most secure and a cost-effective cross-border payment solution for businesses and professionals. We have already been in business for more than 16 years. It's a global powerhouse in terms of payments. The two things which make us stand out is that we are a fully regulated entity across global financial hubs. So across the US in every state, across the EU in every country, UK, China, Singapore, Australia, you name it. Across all financial hubs, Payoneer is a regulated entity directly with the central banks. Second, and even more impressive, is the amount of volume that we process. So in a year or the past year, we processed more than 60 billion in terms of cross-border payment volumes, serving 5+ million customers. We are almost applicable or usable in every country on the planet. And again, this is along with each of the countries come their currency as well. Now, quickly jumping into why we are here, what are the various challenges for B2B cross-border payments that are currently faced? So first and foremost is the lack of foreign infrastructure to launch your businesses worldwide. So typically any business which starts, let's say in a country, becomes a success in their city or their country and want to expand beyond. The first and foremost challenge that they face is the banks don't cater to them in the new country that they want to go to. So setting up an account, getting your funds in that country becomes a challenge. Now that is something which is at this moment the biggest inhibitor for any business to go cross-border. You will find enough number of agencies who will help you open the entity. You'll find enough number of agencies who will help you get all the necessary licenses. But even after all that, the financial systems typically keep you out of that ecosystem because of various challenges that come along with trust, with a lot of money laundering and terrorist financing activities that are happening. Even banks are very skeptical to give a business account to especially someone who's new to a typical geography. Number two, traditional payment methods for payment collection. So if you were to look at it, today's day and age, if you were to collect payments, what are the various methods? As a business, you can collect it using cards if you have an online, let's say an online presence, or it's bank transfers. Having said that, these are all legacy systems which require legacy infrastructure, and very less of it caters to cross-border payments. Today, card payments and local bank payments are a success. Therefore, the problem that we are trying to address is not if you're a trader or if you're a small business or any kind of business operating within a particular country. When you need to go cross-border, all these legacy infrastructure fails. And that has been proven by data. And that is the premise of us having such a big business worldwide. Third is payments to international vendors, suppliers, payment of taxes, duties worldwide. So let's assume you have now collected your payments from worldwide. What do you do with it? You need to send it to your suppliers, your service providers across the world. You need to pay taxes with it. You need to withdraw it. There is no single system which allows you to do it across the world. Probably some corridors, let's say from UAE to US or India or Singapore, are the usual corridors, right? Where you can do it very easily. But if you were to send money from UAE to Brazil or for that matter, UAE to South Africa, the chances for you getting it done within the same day at your same pricing, everything else are very distant. Let's call it that. Now, assuming someone were to give you the infrastructure, someone will allow you all the payment methods under the sun, someone were to even allow you all the ways to make payouts to everyone, and all of your suppliers and service providers across the world, the next problem that comes here is the limited transaction capabilities. Either it's capped by the size, or it's capped by the geography or transparency. So there is no way you can get a satisfied or a satisfactory experience of accepting or transferring your payments. Most primarily, the reasons which we have noted here are the SLAs. When you're sending a payment, you want it done within the same day, at max the next morning, not the 3 to 5 days which typically takes on the non-usual corridors. And having said that, even if someone were to do that for you, the FX fees and the transparency is something which B2B businesses face day in, day out, because every bank has their own FX base, and then every bank has their own charges. There is no way to standardize all of this. Number 5, even if someone were to give you all of the 4, the 5th problem, which concerns a lot of businesses, is the compliance, regulatory, and the risk management ability of the payment platform. Now, banks, for that reason, don't give you an account. Even if they do, they ask you a million questions about each transaction. Not to say that that's wrong, but it's just treating every problem with the same solution, right? So there are various other engines, various smarter engines which Payoneer has, which allows us to categorize which of your payments are very safe and then not hassle you for questions around this. So the compliance, and of course, like I said before, we are a regulated entity globally. So when we move money and when we are into this business, your money is safe. We are not a fly-by-night bank or a fly-by-night tech company who might get dissolved the next day and your money will, be in the doldrums. And last but not the least, if by chance people were to provide you all the 5 answers to all the 5 challenges, they are still not compatible with your systems. There are, like, for example, what Sammy and Deepak were alluding to earlier. If you want to digitize your overall operations, one company is not going to provide you all answers. Then there are bound to be different providers in the value chain. Now, how easy these providers make their service open such that you can link it with your other major providers. So, for example, how easily we could link with FedEx's services or Tally services would allow someone who's listening right now to have an integrated Payoneer plus Tally plus FedEx kind of a solution. And this only comes with the ability to integrate through APIs, to integrate into each other's systems, right? So having said that, the Payoneer addresses all of these 6 major challenges for B2B companies, whether it's B2B trades or B2B services. I'll explain to you how. First and foremost is a global payment solution. So what Payoneer gives you is a bank account in almost every country in the world, or with the ability to collect funds from almost every country in the world. And these funds can be collected in up to 10 currencies, which are the top 10 or G10 currencies in the world, right? And so this includes any country under the sun where we can collect payments from you. Why are we superior to a wire? And this is what I was alluding to earlier. There is a significant amount of intermediary banks involved. There is a significant amount of other agencies involved which ratify your transaction, which takes a lot of time and adds a lot of cost to a typical transaction. Whereas Payoneer is not in the business of sending money each time you press send. We are in the business of sending information to our partners in that respective country, where every time you send money, our partner gets it real time and then remits it to your payee real time. And so therefore we are able to reduce the SLAs of payments to 24 hours and or lesser, right? So typical things which sets us apart from the banks is and this, of course, all of this is happening on a very stable FX, which is the mid-market standard rate available to everyone on the internet. So you don't have to call the bank for every transaction and figure out what happened to your money. You don't have to always be locked on to the FX hedging markets and then figuring out whether you're losing money on FX or not. It is primarily for you to do your business so that you get the best FX. And that's how we beat the time and the cost compared to banks and all other providers in the market right now. like it's mentioned at the bottom of my slide, all the major markets or the central payment systems of all major markets, we are linked to them. Hence, your payments flow within 24 hours across all the main regions such as US, Europe, UK, Canada, Australia, and many more. The other thing is the ability to get paid through credit cards, etc. It's called a billing solution. So typically what happens is when you're trying to accept payments from your customers across the world, you do not have options beyond giving them your IBAN, right? If you were to integrate a whole checkout solution, it's something more when you want to collect payments from consumers, not really when you want to collect business payments, right? Because checkout is a very expensive solution. In some B2B cases, the margins itself are between 5 to 8%. Checkout solutions take almost 4 to 5%. In some cases, it goes up to even 7 to 8%. So that's all your margin gone. And so therefore, the ability to have a single link which gives the option to your customer to pay using whatever they want, whether it's card, whether it's bank wires, international transfers, etc., and even e-wallets in certain geographies. So we have a single link which allows you to extend it to your customer, and then they'll be able to pay you directly through their bank accounts or cards. Or the otherwise, what I said was like, we give you global accounts, you'll be able to put those account numbers and send it to your customers like standard invoices. So we are a business which caters to both the legacy operations of a typical B2B company, as well as the new age B2B companies who are looking to be tech first. Again, how are we better? The answer is very simple. We are basically, we allow you the ability to collect money globally from all cards that exist, and from all banks and basic not only banks and cards, but also all the in e-wallets in certain geographies. So typically the problems with current gateways, as you can see on the upper part of my slide, is high transaction failure rate. So even though people will pay, you will not get them. Most of the people don't accept other cards such as Amex or Diners. We accept all, right? And then frankly, high fees, like I was saying, almost 10%. All of that is mitigated using the Payoneer link. So it is almost like a checkout solution for you for business, right? And like I said, other facilities such as transparency, SLA, security of us being 3D secure and PCI DSS compliant, all of that included, right? This is one of the testimonials from a huge customer of ours in Egypt. The name is Pcall. They basically use us to pay all their publishers globally, right? And so this is a testimony to the fact that in this region, for a local player who's making local cross-border payments from Egypt to the rest of MENA, Payoneer is that localized while being, of course, a global champion in cross-border payments. These are the various set of brands which we are working with across industries, which give us the legitimacy, not only for people who are viewing us right now, but globally. They've partnered with us in a lot of geographies. We are exclusive partners of these major digital brands. And not only this, we help a lot of our businesses go digital. Because we have such a large customer base and partner base, a lot of B2B businesses which are cross-border at the moment and are wondering how to go cross-border digitally first, because that is an asset-light way. Payoneer is a solution to that end as well. And last but not the least, if you've not listened to anything of my presentation so far, this summarizes the whole thing, the whole suite of Payoneer services. Payoneer is meant for businesses and professionals, like you see in the center. On the left are the various options through which you can collect your payments, which are from your B2B clients using buyers, bank transfers, etc. We have the ability to send a payment link or an invoice, and again through various gateways such as Stripe, PayPal, etc. On the right hand side, once you've collected the money, you can make payments to all your suppliers and service providers in almost 190 countries directly to their bank account in their currency. You can pay VAT to various government agencies. You can also avail a Payoneer card, which allows you to then spend directly all across the world through your card. So you don't even need to carry change every time you go to other geographies. Withdraw to your bank, pay for ads, and most importantly, pay your service providers, pay your taxation, taxation consultant, pay your freight forwarders, etc., pay your customs duties, logistics, accounting, etc. So this is Payoneer in a nutshell, and I hope we'll get to speak more in the future. Thank you, everyone. It was a lovely speaking to all of you. Having said that, in the next 10 seconds or so, we will move to our Q&A round. So please keep your questions flowing on the chat. Thank you, everyone. All right. Okay. So Sammy, Deepak, we have a bunch of questions coming in. Having said that, why don't we quickly take the first question for Sammy. So Sammy, you spoke about FedEx's partnership with Microsoft, right? So how is FedEx? One side you see FedEx, which is a giant in logistics, and then Microsoft, which is a giant in tech. So on what various forums are you guys collaborating? Could you just tell us more, and our viewers more about this?
Yeah, thanks, Saival. Thank you for the presentation to both you and Deepak. Very informative, and I think it gives a good perspective on what's out there and what's available to support B2B commerce. But going to your question, we've created through the partnership with Microsoft something called FedEx Surround, and FedEx Surround is really, as I mentioned briefly earlier, taking all the huge amount of data that's out there in the ecosystem and translating that to real-time insight. What we mean by that is we're going from a much more reactive platform. And if you have dealt with any shipping provider or logistics company, many of the time it's a reactive kind of transaction, to going to a much more proactive and predictable transaction using that predictive technology. So we're able to integrate data around traffic, weather, various other unforeseen changes in the supply chain that may impact from one day to another, and take that and predict out what that would mean for a certain package on its journey. And then maybe we're able to make changes throughout the journey of that package. So yeah, it's very interesting collaboration we have with Microsoft, and it's only the beginning, and we're really rolling it out on a global scale. So thank you for asking.
That sounds very interesting, and I'm sure once the solution is out in full swing, it'll be a boon to the customers here. All right, moving forward, Deepak, there's a quick question, and this is more around ERP. So when you said an ERP should be able to integrate with various solutions, what are the various kind of integrations, or what are the various kind of platforms with which Tally is currently focusing on in terms of integration, so people can build their value chain around Tally? Could you throw some more light on that, please?
Yes, absolutely. So that's a very interesting question as well, because as the person who's asked, I'm sure they'll be very happy to know that Tally as a software, as I said, it's very, very flexible. And in terms of the integrations possible, currently, the software allows you to import bank statements into the software and do your bank reconciliation, which would otherwise take you either at least a couple of hours based on the number of transactions that you have. All that you need to do currently is just import your bank statement into the software, and it does the reconciliation within a couple of seconds or even minutes if the transactions is higher. So that is one part of integration. Apart from that, from various e-commerce, if you are a trader who has an e-commerce presence, if you have a website from which you are selling your products and services, we could integrate with that. Whereas if you are a B2C kind of a business, wherein or if you are kind of a supermarket chain that does the day-to-day transactions on a POS system, we could integrate with a POS system as well. Or if you are a slightly larger organization that uses something like a CRM like Salesforce or anything of that stature, we could even integrate the product to pull in and also exchange data both ways. So it's not just one way; it's both way communication that is possible. So these are the possibilities that are there, and some of the projects that are already delivered. Apart from that, we are working closely with banks and other government departments as well, as and when more avenues open up. So currently, the software allows you to generate a VAT 201 form, which is the VAT return form for UAE. So all that so it comes in the exact format as it is required by Federal Tax Authority. All that you have to do is copy paste the figures. Gradually, once the platform opens up for direct upload of this VAT return form as well, we'll be happy to provide that to our customers as well. So in short, the possibilities are limitless. It goes as far as our customers can imagine.
And this is also to build on the fact that now Tally is also planning to go into cloud-based solutions. Probably that adds to the overall advantage, because then it genuinely becomes seamlessly digital. Like, you don't need to be even hooked onto your hardware to access it. Am I correct?
Absolutely.
All right, perfect. Thanks, Deepak. Next question to Sammy, and I think I'll just couple 2 to 3 questions in one. So there's an industry question saying, how do you see big players dominating versus the new entrants in the market? What's your take on it? It's a very business focused or business first question. And how do you see, and a follow up to this would be, how do you see autonomous, let's say, logistics in terms of warehousing, or transportation being a part of this? Why so is because I think only big companies can do that in terms of scale, but small companies are then nimble and agile. So your take on it, please.
Yeah, thank you for the question. It's a very relevant one, because I do think there's, a lot of room for competition in this industry. That being said, to really get into the industry and compete globally takes quite a lot of investment, and that's what FedEx has been doing for the past 48 years. We've reached a scale of 680 aircraft. So I think there's definitely, we'll definitely see new entrants. We'll definitely see competitors in specific markets, especially around the e-commerce space, where last mile delivery has become such a focus area. On a global scale, it's hard to say, and we always look. We believe in fair competition. We believe in competition that keeps us on our toes, and we hope that this industry is always open for competition. And then to the other question on the autonomous deliveries, yes, we are testing, as I mentioned, some robot deliveries. And here in Dubai is actually one of the test markets where we're going to test last mile delivery through a robot. Our robot is called Roxo, and it's going to deliver within a 3 to 5 kilometer or 10 kilometer radius within 30 minutes, etc., from door to door. So it's something that's being looked at right now very seriously as the future of last mile delivery as well. Thank you, Saibal.
Perfect. I think we've mostly come to an end of the show. There are a couple of questions for Payoneer, which I'll quickly take and address, and then we would like to close. To both Sammy and Deepak's team, if you could just post your, not your personal, but your emails where people can reach out to Tally and FedEx, and you guys can then take it forward from there. On the Payoneer question, the COD payments, I mean, we probably need to elaborate more. We'll put our email there and you can tell us. For dropshippers, yes, we have a fantastic card product where we'll be able to not only accept payments through that, but then make sure you pay your ads, you pay your marketing, you pay everything through that card itself. It's a global debit card. More than that, there are a few questions on whether we are doing B2C or not. Yes, all your business payments can be sent to end customers as well, provided it's for business transaction. It could also be payroll or contractor fees. As long as there is a business transaction below the whole payment, we'd be happy to serve that. Apart from that, I don't see questions which are very relevant. Having said that, there was a question around whether Payoneer would be happy to partner with gateways. More than willing. Please reach out to us. I'll be putting in my email as well for people who are interested. So on that note, I would like to once again thank you, the speakers, Sammy and Deepak, for joining us and taking out the time. And typically on a Monday, now we know Monday is the first day, so I'm sure it's difficult. And equally importantly, to all our viewers and listeners, thank you for taking out the time and joining us. Hope to see you next month again. Bye from us. Before we end, to all the viewers, please take a short survey, which Payoneer would be posting when you close your screen. Thank you, everyone. Bye.